We're so honored to have with us today the presiding bishop of TREM, that is the Redeemed Evangelical Mission, a church that is very popularly known in Nigeria and across the continent. We're talking about none other than Bishop Mike Okonkwo. Sir, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thank you so much for taking time out to give us this interview.
Yeah.
You are sitting in a place where you have so much that God has done through you, so much that you have walked through, that I think this is going to be a feast for many people watching it. Could you take us back to how you met the Lord, sir?
I would say that we went through the civil war in Nigeria, which everyone knows, from 66 into the that started actually in 66 and accumulated into civil war that ended in 70. And but before then, let me first say that I was born into a Christian home with an unquote.
Yeah.
My parents were members of the Anglican Communion, and they took us to church, developed the Christian values in us. But there was no real born-again experience. For us to, what it means to serve God was to go to church and probably join the choir, which we did. And then, avoid getting into trouble, doing any few of those things, morally brought up. My father was a disciplinarian and mother too. And so we grew up going to church, but that was not really having a personal encounter with God. Then during the war, God was so gracious. 3 times I was to be conscripted into the army, but God supernaturally, looking hindsight now, I know that it was a supernatural deliverance, because the opportunity abound. Several millions died during this war, many that were conscripted, and with little or no weapons, then many had lost their lives. And but somehow, like I said, if I have to begin to share some of the miraculous way God delivered me, let me just give one experience. Eventually, I was working in the bank. When I left school, I started working in the bank here in Lagos. And when the civil unrest started, then I moved back to the east. Eventually, the war continued, and they still continued to conscript. But then I left the bank.
Okay.
I went back to I went back to where my parents were.
The village.
In the village. So they were still conscripted. So I said, look, if I keep on sitting at home, one day these guys will come. So let me at least go and personally surrender and serve as an officer, because if you go, you can join the officer.
Yeah, the officer.
So I went with my younger brother, who is late now. We did 3 months course. I remember training in Olo. Then the army headquarters was in Olo, and then the training was in one of the villages. That was towards. They finished the training towards the end of 69. Into January 70.
Close to the end of
Yes. So both of us went on a pass to our parents, then came back to the camp, and they said we should all proceed to the army headquarters. In the night, we proceeded. Got in there. They were distributing bullets and guns. And my brother wanted to go to collect. I said, no, you should not. That we are going to leave this place, so you should follow me. And he followed me. We went into the bush.
Wow.
We were in that bush, moving throughout the night. By the time we came out in the morning to a place called Kwaji in the east, then in the eastern part of the country.
Yeah.
They were declaring one Nigeria, that the war has ended.
Wow.
All those who went to war that day were killed.
What an incredible story of God's deliverance.
That's why I say
Wow.
With hindsight, I know it was God. I traveled to Lagos from the east. That was before the bank called us back. And I was there's a house in Oyadiran Estate, where I came with one of my in-law, his late.
Oyadiran is in Lagos.
Yeah, my in-law came on a visit. So I actually drove him down to Lagos and to a that house. And then some of my in-laws have already received Christ through the Assemblies of God.
Okay.
And that, as we were in the living room and about to retire, they decided to go to pray. You know, to them, they were happy that they were saved. And those of us who are not saved, well, that's your business. You know, like it was, you guys are
out, we are in.
So that's the way it was presented to me. And it really got to me, to be honest, because when I went to my corner to sleep, I had to ask God, look, if there's anything you do with this life, I give it to him.
Wow, that
was the experience. When I went back to Enugu and started walking, that was it. I joined church. I joined the UCC.
Oh, UCC.
Yes.
In Enugu.
In Enugu then.
You know what was remarkable for me looking at your story is that you were saved in 1970.
Yeah. That's right.
But that just a year after, in 1971, if I'm correct, and you can correct me, you became a pastor.
That's right.
Is that true?
Yes.
With the UCC.
Yes.
Now, how did that happen, sir? How does one go from there?
You know, in those early days, there were just very few Bible schools. Actually, even the ones that were existing were not really strong. It was when the revival hit the country, late 60s into early 70s. So what we really did was a mentor, leader mentor.
One-to-one mentoring.
One-to-one mentoring. And then you now study on your own and the scriptures stuff, and then read books, and that was when TLO was born, and the Kenneth Hagin books were coming into the country. All that helped to build what we are doing, and so it was possible. But we constantly, you were virtually living in the church.
Yes, sir. But it speaks to me about the kind of hunger.
Yes.
There was a hunger for God.
There was a hunger, serious hunger. The church became a home. You see that. And then you got a Bible. I say I have that Bible. It was small Bible, black back, that you read it. It was joy. Read tracts, read Bible, read quotations, and they put Bible quotations inside you. So all these things were happening, and that was how I got involved. To be honest with you, there were prophecies then that God was going to use me to touch the world. But when it was given to me, looking at the background, UCC, yes, a gospel church, but still has, most of these churches came out from apostolic background. Church of the Lord, Aladra background, Babalola, and all this stuff. So I was saying to myself, how was that going to be? That's in my mind.
In your mind, yeah.
Because then, the pastors then were not wearing shoes.
Okay.
The members, so that's why I say it's not purely Aladra. Aladra, everyone will not wear shoes.
Okay.
Like in Salel, in all this.
Okay.
But the pastors were the only one who
not wearing shoes. So they were not. It was the gospel hadn't fully come. They were being saved. God was moving, but it was that time of transition.
I'm telling you, that's why the input of Pa Elton, ECSG Elton, who was a missionary from the UK, who stayed in Elisha. He played a very big role in the transition that took place in Nigeria.
Okay.
He helped in interpreting the visions that people have.
Now, you went on from there to start TREM.
Then when I got in there, like I told you, I came to Lagos, started the churches in Lagos. Very committed. I wasn't even planning on TREM.
Yeah.
I was totally sold out
to this task given to you by the UCC. So the vision was totally sold out to the kingdom. Their agenda was nothing but how to build the kingdom. What we're going to do, sir, we'll take a short break. When we come back, I want you to explain how TREM started.
Okay.
We'll be talking to Bishop Mike Okonkwo, the presiding bishop of the Redeemed Evangelical Mission. And when we come back, we'll take off from where we stopped. Please don't go away. Welcome back, dear viewers. Before we left for the break, Bishop, you were talking about how TREM started, and you were saying that it wasn't because of ambition. Tell us what led to the start of TREM.
So, after some time, I started noticing some dissatisfaction that we are not. That I'm not doing exactly what I was called to do.
What God had told you to do.
Yes, so that is, you have to leave. And I found it difficult to really make up my mind. It's a tough decision because I thought I'd come home.
Yeah.
And however, at a point, one has to decide. I was sleeping, and God spoke to me in the dream, said, that some people are here in Lagos, where I was living, that the founder was going to send some people to me to tell me not to leave, and that I should not accept. And I should not accept the proposal when they come. And a few days after, truly they came and to take me and plead with me to come back. And I said, no, I'm not. And surprised, as at that time, I'm not like I said, no plan. You didn't have any plan. You didn't know what to do. How do you run a ministry? How do you become a founder of a church and stuff? There was no idea. So when that happened, when they came and that happened, well, I knew that God actually wanted me to leave. By then, Reverend Kumuyi was already doing his Monday Bible school, Bible class in the campus.
Unilag.
Yes, in the Unilag. Yeah. So there are a few people I had to meet to tell them what I was experiencing. He has not started church.
Yes.
He's just teaching the Bible.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, look at what I'm experiencing. Look at what has happened and this. So he told me, okay, to keep praying and that the whole thing will unfold. I now went to Reverend Boyejo. Boyejo was of First Christ, one of the founding fathers of First
Square Church. Okay.
Boyejo also gave me a few encouragement, said that it must be God speaking to me. So that's how I started. Then gradually, through prayers and stuff, people started to come around. And before you knew it, there was quite a big crowd. And we started the church before we officially inaugurated in January 4, 1981.
Yeah, you started in 1980, but you inaugurated in 81.
81. That's what happened. So as soon as we got inaugurated, that very Sunday we were inaugurated. But before then, I was already exposed to the ministry of Maurice Erulo.
Okay. The evangelist known all around the world.
Then he was inviting a lot of African ministers from different parts of Africa, particularly our third world, into San Diego for training. So he invited me to come to San Diego for training. So I went to San Diego. We were there for 3 months. It's like a boot camp.
Yeah.
They really drilled you. And exposed, it was there I was exposed to different ministries.
Your life.
Made different ministries.
Wow.
Then I even connected to a theological seminary in Georgia, and which was that of a Baptist. And Baptists are very sound in
Bible teaching.
So I studied through them. That's where I got the theological degree. And so all these things you're talking about now was the real training. The first time was not just a mentorship.
But now you were getting the inner training and the theological backbone you needed to be able to carry the vision God has given you.
Absolutely.
Because now TREM has over 180 churches, and TREM has become one of the outstanding mega churches around Lagos. Tell me, one thing I find interesting about your ministry is this. You are an Igbo man. Those who don't know, the Igbos come from the east, which I'm also an Igbo man. And normally in Nigeria, you have this tribalistic thing that comes even into the church. So you have a Western, that's the Yoruba church that has the Yoruba people. You have the Igbo church that has the Igbo people, or it will have majority Igbo, then a sprinkle of here and there. But you built a ministry, first of all, an Igbo man in the West. Yeah. Unusual, even now, not to talk of at that time. Yeah. And secondly, to build a ministry that I walked in here today, Bishop, and I'm meeting almost all of your assistants except for one or two from another ethnic group altogether. Yeah. And one of them told me that Bishop from the very beginning has stood in the pulpit and said, anybody that will bring tribalism into this church will be caused by God or something. Yeah. Now, how have you managed to create this, and where did this come from for you?
You see, that it depends on the concept, what you know, what you understand about church. Church is a called out set of people. It has not to do with tribe. Yes. Once the blood of Jesus makes the difference. Once you are saved, whether you are coming from anywhere does not matter to me. As a matter of fact, and I made it clear, it was very clear from beginning that you must not bring tribalism into this church. It is not Igbo church, it's not Yoruba church, it's not Hausa church, it's a body of Christ.
What stands out to you that gives you joy when you think of the journey God has had you on in ministry?
I would say that is the ability to see the word of God really come to life and work. Because at times people read the scriptures and read the stories of what God had done and his ability, but they don't really experience it. It becomes just a theory or like a technical thing to them. But I've stood on the word of God and proven it to be to work. Wow. There was a time there was nothing in the house to eat, nothing to eat, and I told them put something on the fire, put water on the fire, that God was going to do something for us. Wow. And as water was boiling, somebody knocked at the door and brought in what we needed. You see, and that was it. Wow! So it's not just preaching it, experiencing it. That this word, you don't need to add anything to it. That it works. That's why we came up with the mantra that what the word of God cannot give to you. Number one, you don't need it. Number two, it does not exist. Wow. That everyone in TREM world knows that's what we say.
You stand for.
That there is power in the word of God.
But over the years, sir, you have in ministry. I mean, even the story you told now brings that to mind. One wouldn't imagine, and people look at it from outside, that Bishop Mike actually went through a period where there was no food and God had to intervene. But that's remarkable. It tells me of the challenges, and I think we have faced several challenges. I know from the stories that your junior brother who you mentioned earlier was shot in the church. Tell us about that. Your daughter died in the ministry. Tell us about this, and how did it make you feel?
In those days, we do crusades in the east, in the west, in Lagos, different parts. Most of the churches were established. We actually established through crusades in different parts of the cities of this country. And so we just came back from, that was towards the Christmas period. We came back talking about my daughter. That was in 82. Okay. We just came back from the crusade from Belkuta. Okay. And then we came into the Christmas period. We were celebrating Christmas, but my daughter actually sang at the carol service in the church. Yeah. By the time we came back in the night, she caught fever, and I thought that is
just a mere fever.
And before you could say anything, by the time we came in the morning on the 26th, and my wife tried to take her to the clinic as usual. And here it was just giving up. Wow. I couldn't, it's unbelievable. Yeah. She has given up. How? what happened. That 26th, I was to go and preach. I was already built to preach for somebody who in somewhere in Surulere.
Yeah.
So they brought her back, and we prayed and prayed, trusting God that she will get up. No, she didn't. I had no choice. I said, look, either this word works or it's not working. And in times like this is when to really prove what you have believed. So I had to leave her in the room. I went to preach. My friend's church never told them what happened, and finished preaching, came back to come and sort that out. That's how it happened. And it was a shock to me because we are just
serving the Lord. And then how were you able to carry on? Because one would immediately think that this will stop you at that stage, because this is a big tragedy.
Listen, you've been telling people that this is what it is. The word of God is the final authority.
Yes.
It's time to prove it. Am I going to do the work of the kingdom because I lost my daughter and I couldn't do anything about it? I had the choice to say I'm not coming.
Okay.
And I had the choice to preach. So that's why I decided that the choice I make, and my wife understood.
Wow.
She's been a very strong pillar of support. And allowed me to go to preach.
Wow.
And I got there, did what I needed to do. Never told them. It was later they learned what happened.
Wow.
You see?
Wow.
But that's not the only experience. Then my younger brother again.
Yes.
These are parts of the challenges I went through. I was traveling to the U.S. I gave him an assignment with one of my elders.
Which year was this, sir?
That was in I think late 80s. I gave him an assignment to interview somebody who wanted to come and join us. And so I traveled to California. As soon as I arrived in California, I got a telephone call that he was shot in the church.
Wow.
What happened? That he drove into the church for the interview, and that was when armed robbery for cars was just starting.
Rampant, yeah.
And they had earlier on stolen one car from him. This is a new car that they got with his wife, and he drove into the church with his wife and his daughter, and then came upstairs where I was leaving to conduct the interview with one of the elders. And then suddenly the wife ran in and said, look, that some people have come to take the car from her. So he ran down. He was already a naval officer in the medical corps. So out of impulse, he began to fight the people.
Wow.
He was really fighting them. There are three. He was really fighting with a stick and stuff. So I think that when the guys felt that they were losing the
combat, the battle,
they now shot.
Wow.
They shot him through the stomach and stuff. Anyway, he was taken to the hospital eventually. And first day, second day, he survived. First day, second day, third day, at least for 7 days. They stabilized him. The hospital he was in Akoka, and then they moved into Naval Hospital, and everything was fine. And suddenly things turned around.
And he died.
How
did you process this, sir? Because
I must tell you that
I was thinking of this. How do you?
That was more people.
You've gone to serve God. You are. He's interviewing people for the ministry. How did
this happen? I must tell you, I was devastated.
Wow.
As far as this was concerned, it was really
more painful than
my daughter's one. And because when I joined the ministry, he was the only person who stood with me, who believed in what I was doing.
Wow.
Others didn't believe if I decided that I would come to beg them for food, and you left the bank work to go and do church, and church for that matter, you didn't join Anglican Communion because then it was not. Don't forget about what is happening now about Pentecostal churches. Joining charismatic or Pentecostal church then was an anathema. You are going to commit suicide. That's the way it is seen. So, but he believed in the division.
And now he was dead.
How
did God help you through
I must tell you, I was devastated. Again, that's why with inside is God's grace that sustained me to keep going on. You must get yourself. I tell people, look, in Christianity things happen. Because at times people think that because you believe God, you are serving God, everything will be on board of roses. At times the rose is embedded in the thorns. Yeah. You see, at times God put the good thing you are looking for in the mud. So stuff happen. Yes, cry when you should cry. I won't tell you don't cry. And many times people say, I know what you are going through. I say, no, you don't know. Because you are not in the shoes, my shoes. So cry, but the only thing, blow your nose, dry your tears, and encourage yourself in the Lord. That's what it is. Encourage yourself in the Lord and bounce back.
Like David.
There is a bounce back mechanism in every believer. But if you can't bounce back if you don't trigger it, simply if you stuff happen, you can either decide to get stuck in the mud of the failure or decide to get up again.
Wow.
You see, so that's what I must say, that God really helped me by His grace. I encourage myself, and I have to say, look, you can't stop now.
You know what we're going to do, Bishop, is that there's so much to get. So we're going to stop here for this week.
All right.
And we'll continue from this very point next week. I want to talk about your family, the way it's so obvious you're closely knit. You and Bishop Peace, and just all that you've done through the years, and of course your contribution to the Pentecostal movement in Africa, in Nigeria, in leadership with the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. We'll do that when we come back. Dear viewers, we've been talking to Bishop Mike Okonkwo. We'll stop here for this week, and I will continue from this point. Make sure you join us at that point. God bless you. Next weekend, in the second part of my conversation with Bishop Mike Okonkwo of TREM in Nigeria, I asked his views on the state of the church across the continent, as well as a vision for our future.
The church has not done much as I expected, because unfortunately we've begun to focus our membership to go to heaven. But we're still here. One of the ways we can position the church, the membership, is to begin to make them know you don't allow the political leaders dictate to you who to vote for. Your vote is your life.
Next week on James Talk Africa. Hi there, thanks for watching this video. I want you to do 4 things before you go away. Number 1, click on the subscribe button here, and then number 2, click on the bell button. That will allow you to get an alert every time we post a new video, and we're posting new videos edifying interviews and edifying words every week. Number 3, please leave a comment on that. Let us know what you think, whether good or bad. And lastly, share this channel with your friends. Let them know that something is happening here. Thank you for joining us. Keep coming back.